Well, a big welcome to everybody who came here to learn about this amazing cruise on Avalon Waterways on the romantic Rhine. We are Suzanne and Steve, if you can say hello.
Hello, thanks for joining us.
We are Suzanne and Steve Klasen, and we're the owners of CruiseOne in Show Low, Arizona. So let's get going. So just to give you a bit of an agenda, first we're going to tell you about a little bit about our agency. Just we want you to feel comfortable, know who we are. And then we're going to discover what makes Avalon Waterways the best way to cruise the rivers in Europe. And next, we're going to talk about our specific itinerary, which is the Rhine getaway with Lake Como and Lucerne. And then a little bit more about why Avalon is your ideal choice. And then we'll have our exclusive pricing. We have huge savings on this cruise over a booking with Avalon Direct. And then if you have any questions or questions at the end, we're glad to answer them. Of course, if there's something that really sticks out at you and you want to ask a question mid-presentation, just unmute yourself and ask away. So a vacation experience crafted with you in mind. That is what we're all about. Steve and I have been doing this for almost 13 years now, and we have helped countless clients have amazing, breathtaking, exceeding expectations vacation and travel experiences. Steve and I are explorers at heart. We love to travel, so we know how important it is to have all of the little details taken care of and to really make your dream vacation come true. That's our mission. And we want the moment you share your vision with us of what you would like your vacation to be, that we'll help design a personalized experience just for you. And hopefully, watching this presentation and learning about this itinerary, this will fit into some of your dreams and aspirations. So let's go ahead and get going. Steve and I love to travel. We are very lucky because the quality of internet on cruise ships is now really amazing. So we are able to run our business from anywhere in the world, and we do travel quite a lot. We consider that travel an investment in our clients' experience because we're able to help use that experience to give them little tips and create vacation experiences that exceed their expectations. We specialize in planning group cruises, including wine groups, friends and family groups, and travel with groups like this one. We love sailing with our clients and sharing the experience together. And our priority is to ensure that when we're on the trip with you, that we're making sure that every aspect is exceeding your expectation, making for an unforgettable cruise experience. Avalon Waterways, I am a certified Avalon specialist, and I'm also certified with their other two brands, which is Globus and Cosmos. But I always like to say that great travel partners make for a quality travel experience. And quality is in the heart of everything we do. By partnering with such a trusted high-level provider like Avalon, we know that we are going to provide you with an experience that is exceptional. You may have heard of Avalon Waterways, which is why we partnered with them and do these presentations so we can spread the word and let people know what a great river cruise company they are. They have won many awards, and you can see they've won USA Today's Reader's Choice Awards, Cruise Critics Reader's Choice Awards, all kinds of accolades within the industry. Let's talk about what's included with a river cruise, because sometimes people look at the price and they're like, oh, that's a little bit more than I'm used to paying for my ocean cruise. So of course, like an ocean cruise, you would have 3 meals a day included. Unlike many of the ocean cruise lines, you're going to have complimentary wine and with lunch and dinner. And you're going to have a choice of included excursions. That's the nice thing about river cruising, is that they take you through the countries and they make sure that they're getting you off the ship with these excursions so that you're getting the full experience. Avalon has a daily happy hour. So you get the drinks, couple drinks of the day, beer, wine, champagne, complimentary, and that's usually in the hour right before dinner. They have the largest standard accommodations in the industry, and we'll talk more about that later. Of course, you have things like housekeeping. You've got a tour manager that travels with you for the whole experience. And then you have local expert guides in every port. But me telling you about it, why don't we let actor Graham McTavish from Outlander, The Hobbit, and House of Dragon tell you a little more about Avalon.
There may be comfort in the usual, but true discovery and remarkable experiences are the rewards for the curious. They are the gifts that reside beyond the ordinary. Welcome aboard Avalon. Smaller ships, bigger experiences, fewer people, more of everything, right at your fingertips. And you wake up in the best staterooms in the business, to a new port every day, right in the heart of great cities, with nothing but possibilities ahead. Driven by out-of-the-box thinking and a relentless pursuit of better, Avalon heard the siren song to elevate cruising, and they have. So if you believe that life is worth living, not looking, memories are worth making, that better stories need better settings, and that we could all use a little different, you're ready for an Avalon cruise. Cruising elevated.
Love that video. So many of the places in that video are some of the places that Stephen have already traveled with Avalon. So they really take you to some amazing destinations. This romantic ride with Lucerne and Lake Como is one of the most fantastic itineraries. And one of the things that makes Avalon different about the way you enjoy it is that in most ports, you have a choice of 2 or 3 different types of excursions that are included for free. Many ports feature a classic excursion and or a discovery excursion and or an active excursion in every port. So it's an amazing way to experience the places that they take you to. So let's look at this itinerary. So you travel along the river from Amsterdam all along the Rhine. You go through that beautiful World Heritage Rhine Gorge. You're going to go to Mons, and they have an excursion that goes to Heidelberg. You'll head up into Switzerland and France, and then all the way to Switzerland here. So this is France and Germany on these 2 sides, and in Basel. And then from there, you have the land tour that is going to have the 1 night in Lucerne and the 3 nights in Lake Como. So many different countries that you get to visit all in one great itinerary. So Amsterdam, if you've never been there, it is the Venice of the North, and it is an amazing city with canals and older buildings and just so many different things to see, so much art, everything. The good thing about this cruise is we're actually going to be there during tulip time. So this means that we can take an optional excursion. Now, optional means that there is a little bit of an extra charge for it, but it goes to Keukenhof Gardens, which is the most beautiful tulip display in all of the Netherlands. You also have a discovery excursion. If flowers aren't your thing, you can go off the beaten path and do some guided walking tours through the streets of Amsterdam. And then they also have their classic excursion, which is one of those canal boats. That's an amazing experience. You see so much of Amsterdam, and you learn about the architecture and the history when you do that tour. Again, these are the tulip time isn't optional, but these 2 discovery and classic excursions are included. You get to see these wonderful canal houses. It's going to be a fabulous time in April to visit Amsterdam. So our next stop, so we'll journey down the river overnight, and we'll get to Cologne, Germany. And again, you can see you have a choice of excursions. You can do a bike ride with the active host. There's a discovery excursion, so you can learn about the Jewish heritage sites in Cologne. And then the classic tour is going to take you to all kind of the most important sites of the city, the Gothic Cathedral, and you can get a glass of, let me see if I can say this right, Klosch. It's their pale lager. It's been brewed in Cologne for over 100 years. And that night, the cruise ship is planning to have local musicians join us on board for some live entertainment. That's another great thing about river cruising, is that often your entertainment is brought on locally. So you really get that authentic local experience when you are cruising through Europe. Next is the Rhine Gorge. Now, these are some of my own pictures that I took when we sailed through the Rhine Gorge in September. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and if you don't know what UNESCO is, it's that stands for United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. And their goal is to promote education and dialogue and preserve so many of these historic sites around the world. So going to be a beautiful day sailing through the Rhine Gorge. And then from there, we'll head on to Rudesheim, Germany. And if you love white wine, this is your heaven. There's some of the most beautiful white wines in the world are made here, and they're not all sweet. Sometimes we tend to think of German white wines as being all sweet because that's what was exported in the 70s and 80s to the United States. But there's a lot of really crisp, refreshing, drier white wines that are made in that area too. There's also a chance to visit the Mechanical Music Museum. This is a gentleman that started collecting these mechanical musical instruments. If you can kind of think of like a player piano, but with different types of instruments, that's what he's collected. And some of them even have elaborate like puppet shows that go with them as well. And that's one of the tours that's offered. And you can get an authentic Rudesheimer coffee. They make coffee in a very special way there and serve it in this beautiful kind of cone-shaped glass. So again, something you can do, or you can just explore the city on your own.
Well, there's a lot of wine tasting places inside the town too that you can just stop and taste some wine.
Yeah, exactly. Just go in and you can have like a flight of wine tasting for like $10. It's not much at all. So then we'll head on to Mainz, Germany. And this is where the included classic excursion is going to be a tour to Heidelberg. You visit the Heidelberg Castle. And this is the place where you can see the world's largest wine vat is located there. You can also join the adventure host and do an active hike through the town. And if you want to learn about, and I believe this is Mainz, where the Gutenberg Museum is. I think that's right. I could be a little mixed up on that, but you can either go to Heidelberg or Mainz, just where you can see the historic buildings, beautiful architecture. Germany is such a beautiful place to explore. Then we'll head on to Strasbourg. So we'll be docked out a little bit outside of town in Kell, and there is going to be a Discover Strasbourg bicycle ride that you can do, or you can do the classic sightseeing. These two pictures that I have here are of La Petite France, and that is a little kind of old-fashioned village that's part of Strasbourg, has these beautiful half-timbered buildings. And you can also see the cathedral there, which is famous for stained glass windows. And you can tell that's my picture because it's not the greatest picture, but Strasbourg was a beautiful city to see, and I'm so excited to go back there. We were there during Christmas market time, and you can see in this building a lot of the booths are set up. So it's going to be very different to see it in April when it's going to be maybe a little bit less over decorated and a little more authentic. So we're excited about going there. Next, we go to Breisig, Germany. And this city itself is known for beautiful cathedrals and vineyards, but this is our day to go and to learn about the Black Forest. There is an outdoor museum that has preserved lots of these buildings that were the old Black Forest style of architecture, and you get to visit like a watermill, taste butter in the traditional way. Oh, it's basically an open air museum. And Europe has a lot of these. We went to one near Amsterdam that was all windmills. So great chance to kind of learn about this old architecture and the style and the way that people lived kind of back in the day. But you can also go to Freiburg and visit the medieval city. Again, you're going to see that Black Forest area and some of the unique architecture and some of the unique history and heritage of the area. So the next day, the cruise will disembark in Basel, Switzerland. Now, you can do this cruise as cruise only. So you would go from Amsterdam to Basel, and you could enjoy a couple more days in Basel. There's actually a pretty big airport there. You can fly from Basel to London and London back home. Or we'd love for you to join us for the extension, which is the 4 days in the Swiss Alps. So The classic excursion on this debarkation day, it's going to take you to Mount Pilatus, or there's another mountain depending on the weather and the accessibility that you go, and you get this beautiful view of the city below. You'll see the historic bridge in Lucerne, which is pictured here. It's called, and there's a statue there called Heart of a Lion. So we'll get to see that, learn about the history. And there's a beautiful walking tour of Basel. Spend one night there. And then the next day we head towards Lake Como. But before we get there, we're going to stop in Lugano. We'll get a guided sightseeing tour of this charming, it's a Swiss city. And then we'll continue on to Como, the city, of course, which the lake is named after. Then there our classic excursion in Lake Como is going to be a guided walking tour, which includes the historic areas. And then there's also a classic excursion again that's included. So you get a little boat ride around Lake Como and get to really take in and appreciate this beautiful area and see why, you know, the rich and famous are all going to Lake Como for their holidays. It's a beautiful day. The next day, we get a free day in Lake Como. So we have the one night in Lucerne, the travel day to Lake Como. The next day is those two included tours. And then this last day is a free day. So this gives you a chance to book some kind of independent excursion, maybe walk around town and try the wonderful food, lots of different things that you can do in that area. And it's always nice to have a day that isn't completely planned because it gives you a chance to find those off the beaten path type activities and discover restaurants that you didn't know about. Really authentic way to experience this little town on the third day as an independent traveler. So now we know where we're going. It's an incredible journey that goes from Amsterdam all the way to Italy with so many cities. But let's talk about how we're going to get there. And we're going to get there in style. So this is a picture of a couple. They are on their panoramic open air balcony on the sweet ships of Avalon. And I'm going to explain to you why Avalon has the best layout rooms in all of river cruising. So if you kind of look from outside, most river ships pretty much look the same. But there's differences in how they lay out the cabins. They look the same on the outside because all these ships have to fit through the same sets of locks and go under the same bridges. So they can't be too tall, they can't be too wide. They need to be able to fit the confines of the locks on these rivers. But there's a difference in the way that Avalon has chosen to use their space to accommodate their guests. So let's take a look now at this great little video from Avalon.
The sweet ships of Avalon, designed from the ground up with an attention to detail river cruising has never seen before. There's nothing quite like river cruising no matter who you cruise with, but there are some pretty big differences between companies, starting with how they look at staterooms. And our one-of-a-kind Panorama suite is proof of our innovation, our imagination, and our desire to create a smarter use of space. To give you some perspective of how much better our staterooms are, we're comparing them to the average river cruise cabin. Here's the average window, roughly 7 feet wide, with an opening under 4 feet. Here's our window, nearly 11 feet wide, floor to ceiling, wall to wall. And when it opens, it really opens, wide enough to let the outside in, because the opening is a full 7 feet, almost twice the size of the others. It's the largest standard window in river cruising. Now, let's take a look at the bed of the average cabin. It faces the wall, not much to look at there. We had a much better idea. What if we angled the wall and turned the bed? That little change gives you the perfect perspective of the amazing views out your window. We then turned our attention to the balcony. Here's the average river cruise balcony. Seems like a nice idea, but as far as we can tell, there's not a lot of room for people to enjoy the views out there. And they had to take space from your stateroom to create that small deck space outside. So here's our better idea. Reclaim that space, push the window out, add a spacious dining and seating area for up to 6 adults, combine it with the largest sliding glass door in the business, and voila, you have an open air balcony, the only one of its kind in river cruising, and you can enjoy it day and night, no matter the weather. Plus, you'll enjoy a lot more livable space, a full 200 square feet. We gave our room an attention to detail unmatched in the industry. We offer comfort collection beds, plenty of easily accessible storage, and we even added sound dampening insulation in our walls to make it less likely you'll hear your neighbors or they'll hear you. And we didn't stop with the room. We turned that same attention to detail to the bathroom. We took a look at the bathroom of the average ship and we knew we could do better. By angling the wall, we opened up more space in the bathroom. Then we took our newfound space and we made it luxurious. We have a large tile shower with glass doors, marble countertops, premium fixtures, L'Occitane bath amenities, and shelves to store all your necessities. And the best part is that there aren't just a couple of these staterooms on our ships, reserved for those who want to pay more. 80% of the staterooms on our suite ships are Panorama suites. And once you leave your suite, you're likely to find fewer people on our suite ships. Because with our bigger staterooms, there is less capacity for passengers, which means more space everywhere you go. As you can see, more has gone into the amazing Panorama suites, so you can get so much more out of them. We invite you to compare, and you'll see there's no comparison.
Well, I have to tell you, one of the things that my clients tell me more than anything else after they've done an Avalon cruise is how much they love the rooms. And this slide, I think it's a nice comparison. It compares the Avalon room with the average room on the leading competitor's ship. So if you look at the leading competitor, they do have that outdoor balcony, but their interior square feet is only 150 square feet. The bathroom is really tiny and not nearly as much storage space. With Avalon, you get that large full-size bathroom. My husband's a big guy, and he says it's one of the best bathrooms and showers in all of cruising, not just in river cruising. I love the desk. Of course, that's where I set up my office while I'm traveling. And we really love that open air balcony. It opens so wide, and you can get air in there, even if it's a little cool. You're still somewhat insulated because you're inside. So it's a really refreshing way to have either a picture window or an open air balcony. Very nice addition to all the other things that Avalon has to offer. Here's a picture of our Panorama suite. You can see I have my desk set up there as we were in Budapest. That was our first Avalon cruise. And one other thing I want to point out is if you are traveling with your sister or your mother or your cousin, these beds are those split beds just like you have on most cruise ships. So if you are platonic roommates, they can be split apart and each of you gets your own twin bed. So it's something else that's important. A lot of ladies ask me that, or gentlemen that are, traveling with a cousin or a nephew or something. Do we have separate beds? Yes, absolutely. You can have separate beds. This is a picture of the bathroom. These are ones that I took. You can see it's a very large shower, nice vanity area, plenty of room on each side of the vanity to put your stuff. If you are on a little bit tighter of a budget, the lower deck rooms have the picture windows up here. They're fixed windows. They don't open. The bathroom is a little bit smaller, but it's a full 172 square feet. So that's bigger than the French balcony room on the leading competitor's ship. And the other thing I like about it, and I wish I had a little bit better picture of this, but this is the aft lounge on all of the Avalon ships. There are floor-to-ceiling, wall-to-wall glass windows. If you just took picture from here and went over, that's all windows looking out the back of the ship. They have a 24/7 beverage and snack station there. And if you want to get together with your friends and play a board game, maybe while you're sailing and you don't want to miss the views, you've got those picture windows out back where you can see everything behind you. It's beautiful. And if you want to pick up a bottle of wine ashore and just sit back there with some of your friends and have conversation and enjoy your bottle of wine, you can do that too. On some river ships, this area is the top end suite. So it's not an area that everyone can enjoy. But on Avalon, it's there for everyone to enjoy. This is the Panorama Lounge that's up front. So again, you've got your floor-to-ceiling, wall-to-wall windows. You're never going to miss a view of the river from this Panorama Lounge. This is where you have your entertainment, your briefings, your refreshments, your happy hour, all held in this lounge. And then they have the Panorama Bistro, which I'll talk to you later is about one of the dining options is served in this area. They do have a little small gym. So if you want to keep up with a little bit of your workout, you can do that on an Avalon cruise. This is a picture of the dining room. It's nice size. They have breakfast, lunch, and dinner in that dining room. They also have snacks in the Panorama Bistro. And in the evening, if you want a little bit lighter dinner or want to try multiple entrees, they serve little mini portions of the dinner in that area. So just to give you an idea, I alluded to that just on that last slide. There is flexible dining, so you have the main dining room. You can be seated anytime from 7 p.m. to 8:30, but in reality, everybody goes at 7. Everyone's seated at 7, or they go to the Panorama Bistro, where it's a little bit quieter. You're a little bit higher up on the ship, so you can see maybe a little bit better views of the river because you have the panoramic windows all around. And then you also have the Avalon Fresh options, which are healthier, locally sourced ingredients, and we'll talk about that on the next slide. So Avalon Fresh is their dining philosophy, and it reflects the local traditions of foods and locally sourced ingredients along with regional dishes. And I think this is one of the things that really sets Avalon apart, is that you are truly immersed in the destination and getting to try food from that region while you're sailing through that region. And I'll give you some examples. Here's some savory pumpkin strudel, Wiener Schnitzel. We were in Vienna, so yes, you have to have Wiener Schnitzel. And a vegetarian take on Hungarian cabbage rolls was offered when we were in Hungary. So again, bringing that destination on board the ship, but in maybe a little bit of a twist or a healthy way, or very traditional Wiener Schnitzel. This is another example of how Avalon brings the destination on board. This was a cruise where we had sailed all through Austria and we arrived in Bavaria in about mid-morning. So lunchtime was a traditional Bavarian lunch with all kinds of sausages and meatballs and breads and pretzels. It was a lovely experience. And again, Avalon has that complimentary happy hour. They serve house wine, beer, drinks of the day. Usually you have a choice, champagne, and it's usually about 1 hour before dinner. And this is sometimes it's when your entertainment is going on. Sometimes it's when your cruise director is talking about what's going to be going on the next day, or maybe the after dinner evening entertainment. So that's a wonderful little benefit. There is no beverage package for you to buy, because so much of the beverages with breakfast, you can get a mimosa, lunch, or dinner are included, and the drinks themselves are so reasonably priced that even if you bought drinks outside of those hours, you're not going to be spending very much. So there's really no reason for a drinks package or an upgraded drinks package with Avalon. So again, let's summarize this itinerary. It is 5 fantastic countries. You get Netherlands, Germany, France, Switzerland, and Italy, all in one great itinerary. So if you want to go to Europe and really feel like you're getting the most bang for your buck and getting to see the most countries and some of the most beautiful places in Europe, this is a fantastic itinerary. So on our next slide, this is what you've been waiting for. It is our pricing. So this is pricing. This is double occupancy, total price for the cabin. And this includes the Lucerne and Lake Como edition. If you want to do cruise only, just take $17.99 per person off that rate. And the cruise only rates, start at $31.49 per person. And if you think about all that's included, your drinks, your meals, your tours, your accommodations, it's a very reasonable way to see Germany. And I wanted to compare our pricing because we took out this group about 8-9 months ago when they first released the sailing, and we locked in the pricing. So you can see that our pricing per cabin double occupancy is a $962 savings per suite over the Avalon direct rates. Just to give you an idea, the categories P, A, and B are all those panorama suites. They do have one left, and that is their Royal Suite. And it's priced, this is the price we have for that. Again, it's better than the direct price. The Royal Suite is about 1.5 times. So 1.5 would make it about 300 square feet. So it's a little bit bigger than the standard cabin. The D and E are the lower level Riverview cabins. And this is a fantastic price. Plus, if you book by February 24th, we have a special offer just for people who attended the webinar. And that is an additional $50 savings per person. So that's going to be $1,062 total that you would save over booking with Avalon Direct, because I have this group and I have that webinar promotion. We have actually similar group savings on an August 1st, 2026 sailing. We had someone who attended one of our early webinars last fall, and she just, the April date, the April 25th date, which is our date, did not work for her. And I said, well, let me see if they still have group space for August. And they did. So I took out a group for her and locked in similar savings. That was, around lunchtime when the prices are lowest with the river cruise lines. So great pricing, great itinerary. This will give you a little bit of an idea of where Avalon Waterways travels around the world. They go all through Europe, and then they also go to the Galapagos, the Ganges, the Peruvian Amazon, the Nile, and the Mekong River in Vietnam. You can also do your air through Avalon if you choose. You can choose the routing and the carrier that best meets your needs, and transfers are going to be included if you arrive and depart on brochure dates. It's a little bit more restrictive. You can't really deviate from the set itinerary of the cruise, maybe by 1 or 2 days, but you really can't fly into a different city or fly out of another city. So this works really well for people who are just focused on doing the set itinerary. You do an additional $300 deposit to secure that air, and it's not fully paid until final payment. Of course, our first cruise that we're talking about isn't even until April of this year, so it wouldn't be until towards the end of May, 1st of June, that we would be able to even look at pricing on the air. They don't throw some bogus air price up there and actually build it into the price of the cruise. So it truly is a true air price when you book your air through Avalon. A couple other things I wanted to go over is we do a lot of different group cruises, and not just with Avalon and not just rivers. So we do have a couple river cruises coming up in 25. We have a Bordeaux cruise that's also with Avalon. We also are partnered with Avalon Waterways, and they have a beautiful Gems of Southeast Europe cruise that goes from Budapest to Bucharest. And that Avalon Bordeaux and the Alma Magna cruise can be booked as back-to-back. They would be about 4 days in between. That would give you 4 days in Bordeaux post, or 2 days in Bordeaux post cruise, and maybe 2 days in Budapest. And Budapest and Bordeaux are two of the most beautiful cities, have so much art, culture, food, great places to hang out for a couple days while you're in between your cruises. We're also escorting a group to Iceland just this summer. I have a few of the balcony cabins still left available, and my pricing, because I took these out early, with similar accommodations and amenities and terms and conditions in terms of refundability, my prices are about $2,000 less than booking with Celebrity Direct. And again, that's because I'm proactive and take out these groups early. So let's keep going. I have a couple more. If you were interested in Antarctica, I have Antarctica 2 ways in 2026, both a scenic sailing only, where you don't get off the ship and walk around. We have done that twice, and it was fantastic, but we decided we needed to go back and walk around. So we're doing an expedition style cruise with Aurora Expeditions in 2026. And we also have a wine lovers cruise that's in the Caribbean. We're once again partnering with our friends from Ascension Cellars, and they bring their wine on the ship, and we have an exclusive 4-event wine tasting program that is exclusively for our 100 to 120 passengers. The entire ship, it does not participate. It is exclusively for our group. We have about 8 cabins left on this group. We have been booking this fast. It's been very popular, and it's a wonderful itinerary. Again, we have great group rates on that. Tomorrow night, we are doing a webinar on Scandinavian capitals with Holland America, and it actually works as a back-to-back with this cruise. So you can get off the ship, the cruise in, or finish up your tour in Lake Como, fly to Amsterdam and take this cruise around the Baltics. And Steve and I are doing that as well. We were building up a nice little group for this cruise and also for the river cruise. So we, like I said, we love traveling with our groups and making and experiencing all these wonderful things with our clients. And we had a client that booked the Scandinavian capitals, and she said, Suzanne, I want to do Norway. And I said, and she had a couple other friends that wanted to do it with her. I said, well, let's take out a group on the best of Norway, that one that you want to do. So we have special pricing on this tour. It's a land tour through Globus, which is Avalon's sister company. So you could spend, if you wanted to spend a whole month in Europe and not really repeat much of anything, these 3 tours, or the cruise, the river cruise, the ocean cruise, and the land tour are a great way to do it. And of course, there's lots of times when I can combine these things together where you don't, I'm not presenting it to you, but you call me and you go, I want to do this and this. Well, I work with lots of different vendors. We can make it happen. We have 2 small ship cruises that we're doing in the fall of 26. Again, these can be combined as back-to-back. Windstar, 300 passenger ship, amazing food there, the James Beard Foundation official cruise line, so they have great food. And then Azamar, 750 passenger ship. They get into, both of these cruise lines are able to get into small ports that are off the beaten path for the regular cruise lines. So something else I want to mention as this final slide comes up, I forgot to mention this when I was talking about the Avalon ships. So their ships carry an average of about 168 passengers. And remember, that ship has to have the same footprint because it's on the same river, going through the same locks and under the same bridges as a leading competitor ship. Leading competitor is going to have 198 guests in that same space that Avalon's putting just 168. And so it can really make a difference. They're able to add more public space because they're able to do that. And also it's going to feel less crowded. You're going to have less people going on the tours. And also because they offer a choice of tours, again, you're going to have smaller groups on the tours. So here is our special offer with Avalon. I hope you're excited. You understand what a great river cruise company they are and what makes them different. If you book by February 26th, you're going to get, and I mentioned this on the pricing slide, an extra $50 per person discount for any new Avalon Waterways booking that you do, just for attending this cruise event. And it also would apply to a Globus. So if you wanted to book a Globus Norway tour, we're going to give you the same $50 per person off. So that's kind of the end of the presentation. We're going to go ahead and open up to any questions that you might have. Just unmute yourself, or you can put it in the chat. If you don't have a microphone, I've got that up. And so I usually don't have many questions in these presentations because I try to be so thorough, but if there was something you missed or something you need me to go back and repeat, I'm happy to do that.
Remember, if you want to ask a question, you are muted right now, so unmute yourself.
Okay, well, we didn't have any questions. I'm going to go ahead and just continue the presentation to talk about how to get in touch with us. These are all of our contact informations. We've got our toll-free phone number, our email, our website is vacationsbysuzanne.com, and our YouTube page where we post all of our webinars. You can go to that YouTube at Vacations by Suzanne. If you just type in Suzanne Klasen CruiseOne YouTube, it comes right up. And then we also have a Facebook page, so we invite you to follow us on Facebook. So again, I want to really thank you for coming and attending. Steve's going to go ahead and stop the recording.